The show you're about to listen to is pulled from our Nerd Radio, our National NerdNet Radio Direct, streamed every Sunday at 11 a.m. Central Time. Between each segment will be music samples from our live broadcast. So if you like what you hear and you want to come and join us for some tunes, talks, and some cool vibes, then make sure to join us every Sunday at 11 a.m. Central. Until then, please enjoy. What's up, everybody, and welcome to Button Mashing.
I don't have buttons to mash.
I mean, it was really hard for me to not start off with anything sexual on that, but yeah, here's a.
Yeah. Doing what we can.
I'm one of your hosts, Nick. Here with me today is
Kevin.
It's Nate and Kevin.
Nate.
Remember, we established this last time.
I waited for like 4 seconds. I waited like 4 seconds. I even pointed, and then he just he sat there, and I was like, "Who's going? I'm going."
Yeah.
Okay. So Nate and Kevin are also here. If you didn't know that already.
Even though K becomes foreign ends, but whatever.
So yeah, we're here to talk some video games. So let's talk some video games. So what have you guys been playing? What have you guys been up to? We did Nate first last time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go, Kev.
No, I think we. Oh, okay. What have I been playing? So I tried out Overwatch for one of the first times because my birthday just passed, and kind of been consumed with that for a little bit.
Yeah.
I play that quite a bit. I mean, outside of that, I play Call of Duty, Black Ops.
So hold on. Tell everybody who's your main.
Oh, God, right now, I don't really have, like, a main. So I really enjoy Wrecking Ball because I like being a pendulum, and when you grab a hold of the payload and you're trying to move it, all I have to do is sit there and spin around it, and they can't get close to it. Right. So the hamster's a lot of fun. When it comes to just, like, deathmatch, Reaper is pretty decent of a character. They all have their own strengths. D.Va's real nice as well. I mean, I can go through all the mains, really, but as for me, I don't have a specific one I just adhere to. It depends on the match, I guess.
Yeah. Who's the ninja that does the throwing stars?
Genji.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was Genji or Hai something.
No, Hanzo.
That's his brother or whatever. So I get them mixed up or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, Genji, actually, I'd say my main, I would, depending on, because just like in Paladins, depending on if we needed a support or if we needed, this, I would either be Genji or D.Va. Those were usually my mains.
Genji for me is just too squishy. He's a very squishy character, but that's the thing. Like Bastion is really, really strong, but the moment you use his ultimate and become the tank, you were like insta-squish. And
Insta-squish.
Yeah, pretty bad, actually. Each character... So the only thing that I would have to say about using my ultimates and Paladins compared to using my ultimates in Overwatch... when I compare the games, I'm much more a fan of Overwatch than I am of Paladins. Mm-hmm. But it's just because of micro things like loot boxes, getting all my characters for free, getting all the skins for free. I essentially don't have to pay for a thing when it comes to characterization and customization for my character.
Right.
My one complaint is the ultimates. When I use my ultimate on Paladins, massive, I know I'm going to get at least 2-3 kills, and I'm going to get like my quads, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas Overwatch, it's not a guarantee. You really need to time your ultimate for that right moment when everybody's drained. Yeah. When you pair your ultimate with like Sombra and she hacks everybody.
Oh yeah, that's right.
A really good way to do it. The hamster Wrecking Ball. Okay, so his ultimate lays out mines. When I first started playing with him, I just tried to roll in and use my mines, and I'm like, that's not really effective. It doesn't do shit. What does work is when I pendulum swing in, and then I do my power slam with my circle button, and everybody goes launching into the air, I simultaneously drop my mines right then. Because by the time everybody lands on the ground, my mines go up and kill everybody. Nice. So it's all about timing. The people I play with are like, well, good luck getting play of the game with the hamster. I've gotten play of the game like 7 times with the hamster, and it's because of that tactic right there. So utilize your character right. But overall, I mean, Overwatch is a lot of fun.
You know what I always say about Overwatch? Overwatch is overrated.
I thought you were going to say it's not over till I watch.
No, Greg. Yeah, I've always had a weird. Honestly, I think when it really comes down to it, I think my relationship with Overwatch is I'm a cheap ass hoe. I'm a cheap ass hoe, and Paladins is, for lack of a better term, the same game. And
it's like decaf Overwatch.
I like the characters. I like the the setup of everything. I like the customization, like the card loadout and things like that. Like my Fernando, which the equivalent would be Reinhardt. My Fernando doesn't play exactly the same as somebody else's Fernando because of the way I can like load them out and everything. And so that's one reason I prefer Paladins. I've always thought Overwatch was okay. But the pretentious side of me, the jackass side of me is just like, I just don't get the big hype, the big, like, I don't get the big whoop. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's a good game, solid game. I can't deny that. I can't sit here and try to pretend that it plays like trash and like, I don't know, because I don't play the game enough. But it's like, I don't know. Like, I play it, and it's like, I think maybe, to me at least, you tell me, Kevin, to me at least, like, Paladins and Overwatch are so similar that I would rather not spend money, which goes back to my whole point about me being a cheap-ass hoe. So, yeah.
See, I disagree, and that's where I do disagree. And the reason why I disagree, and the fact is one, Paladins is more expensive than Overwatch would ever be, in the aspect that not only do you have to pay for your characters, you're also paying for your skins. And sure, you can grind to earn the points enough to do it, but why do that when you could pay $20, $30, or $40 for Overwatch and get everything for free and unlock them as you go through and get loot boxes? On the other side of that, every match on Paladins seems the same. The maps are overly similar, and it's repetition mapping. Whereas on Overwatch, you don't get that. You don't get repetition. It's kind of a fresh match each time. The locations are somewhat fresh every time, and the maps are fairly decently big. Whereas Paladins, they seem a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
I do like the stack loadout on Paladins in comparison to Overwatch. I like being able to customize that, but I also do understand the concept of nobody gets to set up their loadout differently and have that type of advantage. Everybody's the same. Get in there and have a full-on out mayhem brawl.
Yeah.
And I think that supports the playability to Overwatch over Paladins, because now I don't have to worry about, well, if I have this team that I'm going to go against that has this loadout, there's no way to stop them because they're OP and it has to be nerfed. They don't have that on Overwatch. There's no nerfing of
point. Yeah.
stats. So all of those little things make, in my opinion, Overwatch more playable and a lot fresher than what Paladins is. It's not as repetitious. So
yeah, coming from someone who has not played Overwatch, it definitely seems, just based on optics and what I've seen and kind of other things like that, is it definitely seems like it's you get what you pay for kind of thing. Where Paladin's free to play and it's good and it's fun, but it's like you put that up front a little just a little bit more, and you're getting like a whole different quality of something. So Overwatch really hasn't had its hooks in me. I like Paladin and I have fun with it, but I think what threw me off from wanting to even ever get into Overwatch is the zeitgeist. Because that's a big thing with me. If a game is so fucking hyped at a moment, I'm just like, I'm not going to enjoy it because I have the expectation that I'm going to have to enjoy it because everyone else is.
Right.
Yeah. It was that, and then just the over competitive nature of it. That is like I play Call of Duty, but I'm not trying to fucking pro Overwatch. So
True.
No, and I agree with you on that, Nate. And I'm not trying to professionalize Overwatch.
Right. I get that it's fun.
And I went into so I got Overwatch for my birthday as a gift, and I never bought the game because I was under the preconceived notion that it was a bad game and that it wasn't worth the money. So I never purchased it because I had only heard, I guess my closest sources that I trusted, it was more of a negative thing, so I just never really took the time. After playing it, I'm like, oh crap, this actually is a good game. And this is, a few years after hype. On a playable level, it's fun to just get on there and dick around. Their mayhem mode Honestly, it's if you just want to go in and kill something and have shit blow up, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
But I agree. I don't really get behind competitiveness. I do understand competitiveness and I do understand esport, but make that an option, not a forced conception.
Right.
So that's where I stand on that. But I mean, overall, when it comes down to it, overall, I think that Paladins is definitely a game that's playable and fun. I'm not saying it's not a bad game by any means. I've had my fun on Paladins. I have my character. Tiberius, probably hands down one of my favorite characters to play as. I think I main him more than I do. Well, him and Ruckus. I mained him and Ruckus quite a bit.
Yeah, right.
Something about people or creatures inside of giant monsters.
Right.
Weird boner.
Yeah, right. Weird one, but it's a flex. It's a flex. Yeah, right. I just feel that Overwatch, I think, in my opinion, had a better playability. Like I find myself wanting to play that.
Looking at the gameplay itself without even playing it is like, okay, like I can see that. I can see the incentivization of like, oh, this looks like.
Yeah, and the reason why like the hamster is my favorite character is because I can actually grapple my environment and use my environment to my advantage.
Do you own a Kia?
And that's huge. Like Lucio is this little skater guy that's a healer, and he has this gun that does like a sonic burst, and I call it bopping. And he bops. Yeah, he bops you. Well, he can bop you off the map.
Right.
So I've had a Lucio just straight find me as the ball and just kept bopping me off the map. I'm like, quit! Well,
damn it!
Finding out his method, I made him bop me in a swing motion and come back and hit him. So it's all about it's about how you use your environment. And again, it's little things like that.
Yeah.
Nice. And that Lops Cow. That was my second.
Lops Cow.
We will be getting into, I believe.
Yeah, for sure. So Nate, what have you been playing then? Then we can get into Blops Cow.
Well, yeah, I'm somewhere. I'm the nerd guy. I want to start off by saying I was wrong about one of the things we talked about in the weekly nerdy news last week. So we're going over the Game of the Year nominees.
Oh, okay.
And all the Game Awards stuff, and one of them popped up for Best Narrative, and I basically was like, I don't think it's going to be Tsushima because it's just not. It's not there. I was wrong. I was just wrong in that statement. And what happened was, the problem with that game is, I have fun, but sometimes I get bored kind of fast because sometimes I'm doing the same things and. It's like I'm trying to do everything, and I thought I was towards the end of the game. Apparently, I was towards the end of Act 1.
Oh, yeah.
But here's the thing. So I've just been kind of chipping away at it. But I was like, the story's not really doing it for me. I forget this is a Sucker Punch game.
Yeah.
And here's I played about 3 hours of it this morning. Just by doing that and crossing over into Act 2 is like. Holy shit! Okay, so they've outright said there's not there's no like morality system like in Sucker Punch, like in Infamous or anything like that. Right. Except that there is, but it's just baked into all the systems. So there are certain things like, and you start the game, you're a samurai. You're fighting as samurai. You're fighting with honor. Whole thing about it is your uncle gets kidnapped by the Mongols and. The first part of Act 1 is trying to gain a group of allies together to rescue him, and by going on these adventures. And hold on, I lost my train of thought.
Choo-choo.
So anyway, you're a samurai, and then you come across a thief who basically saves you. This is all in the parts of the beginning of the game, and she's basically like, "Hey, you're going to have to not fight with honor if you want to rescue your uncle. Like, you're going to have to do some shit. You're going to have to act like a thief. You're going to have to..." And, it's when you start to pick up assassinations. Well, the first time you assassinate someone, you have this, like, flashback of basically your uncle telling you, hey, you only kill with honor. And so immediately you're like, ooh, I don't know if I should be doing that. But there are certain things going into it, like, for example, if you tackle an outpost and go all stealth, just assassinations, just act not like a samurai, the weather changes. lightning happens, it's raining, it's storming. If you act like a normal samurai, it's sunny and everything like that. So the way I played this first act was basically neutral, where it was like if I had samurai moments where I could just fight to the death, I did.
Right.
But if I had to sneak around and kill people, I would. And so basically, like, the game in a cutscene was basically like, hey, we recognize what you did. You have a choice technically. Like, are you going to fight like a ghost or are you going to fight like a samurai? But it doesn't give me a choice. I am gathering that from these cutscenes that I'm watching. Like, the way they're interacting with my gameplay, it's like, fuck, this is good. Like, this is like, I don't have to think about this. And here's the thing too, there's multiple endings, so depending on your actions. So there's no like scale.
They're Red Deading you. They're giving you
basically.
They're giving you the Red Dead story.
But there's no meter. But there's no meter. Yeah.
So you walk into town and people respond to you differently?
Well, so I mean, you do have like a level up bar, and I guess if you acted more negatively and were more of like a villain kind of thing, it would say something different. I really don't know that, but like right now it shows Hero of Tsushima, but like there are parts in the game where like there's one part where you save a town and they're like, you're a samurai, but that was really fucking brutal what you just did. You killed everyone. And they're like, you must. Yeah, and so like the game is like, hey, this is how you're acting. And so it's just like it's very fascinating what they're doing with it. And I could see it where I'm going. Like I said, I just started Act 2, but I could easily see that being a contender.
Would you put Ghost of Tsushima as a now at least purchase at a discount price, or still purchase at full price? Where would you put that?
Oh, it's 100% a purchase. My statement, I think, still stands from what I told Nick last week, where I thought The Last of Us 2, like most people, was going to be the swan song of the PS4. I think it was Ghost of Tsushima because it is a stellar game. You do want to do everything, so like when you see side activities, don't just go mainline. I would do the side activities because it helps. But you know, the first act can be a little bit to trudge through. Like I said, I was just picking at it, but I want to say I'm already at like 10-15 hours maybe, something like that. So I mean, it felt like a little bit of a ride, but like it's already kind of picking up in Act 2, so it's for sure a purchase.
Nice.
Now, one that I would say is good thing it's on Plus is Shadow of War.
Oh yeah.
Not really sure how I'm feeling about it.
Yeah,
gotta be honest.
You know, me and Kevin were talking about it the other day, and my biggest thing right now that I'm having a trouble with is you gain the ability in the first one to take over orcs, and now in this one you forgot, I guess. You forgot how to take over orcs. The entire, hook of this game is supposed to build up your own army, and yet I'm 4 or 5 hours in, and I still haven't gotten back the ability to take over an orc, let alone an entire garrison. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, goddamn.
For me, I'm wanting it to be Shadow of Mordor, and it will never be.
Yeah.
And I think that's bad on my part because Shadow of Mordor was such a phenomenal game, and I think that's because it was a story-driven game that was very like cinematic and stuff like that, and it like told me this really great story, and it just had this really good system. Whereas with Shadow of War, it feels like it's beating me over the head with how it's trying to be a real-time fucking strategy game, and like there's like it beating. I thought I played the entire prologue because I got to where we had taken back the city basically, and they're like, hey, you need to go meet with so and so, and then I went to bed. It does give you your time clock right when you're on the main menu, and I got on. It said you were playing for 37 minutes. I'm like, what the fuck? I thought I was playing for like an hour. But like, yeah, in the first couple hours of the game, it's like system. Hey, look at the system. Hey, look at this convoluted thing. Like I'm just getting fucking beat over the head with menus and like fucking like I'm just. It's like, oh, dude, this is.
Yeah, they wanted to make it more complex because it is a sequel. But then it's like they forgot.
But the gameplay doesn't even feel fun.
Exactly. They forgot to keep it fun.
because like and maybe if I rank up higher and get more skills where I can do executions more often, but like hitting these motherfuckers with a sword feels like like I'm hitting them with a wiffle bat. I mean, it's like
yeah.
And that's the other part. You leveled up and you found out how to do executions from below, executions from above, executions while you teleport, all these different executions. And then once again, you just kind of forget, but
Amnesia,
they don't even give like an in-universe reason for why you forget. Like I think I bring up an example of like Metroid. Like Metroid Prime, for instance, I think you start off with like almost all your skills. But then the Dark Samus comes and steals them from you. So there's at least an in-universe explanation as to why you can no longer double jump or grapple or things like that. You have to get those. But in this, do you remember? Because, I mean, I don't remember there being an event where it's like, I'm stealing all your stuff. And even so, why? Unless you quite literally have amnesia. Like, when it was Samus, it was literal, like, you had to have a mod to shoot missiles. You had to have a mod to grappling hook. How can you forget to execute from below? That's just something you quite literally do. It's not a physical item. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think there's the overwhelmingness of it, too, because, like I said, getting beat over the head with the systems, I'm literally playing the second mission of the game, and it's where it has you go to the tower to fucking find the little things, and I pull up my menu, my map, and it's like, oh, here's a commander orc, here's another commander orc, here's a skirmish going on, here's this, here's that, here's this. It's like, don't give me my map until like an hour into the game. Like, invest me into that world.
Yeah.
Like, why? I'm not even 30 minutes into this game, and I'm being just, there's so much shit on my map that I feel like I have to do, and it's like it makes me not want to finish playing it, honestly. The game, I will say, looks gorgeous, and I think it's really cool the fact that they have 4K packs you can download to basically go with the game, and they look phenomenal. Like, I'm not gonna lie, they look really good, but I don't feel incentivized to play the game.
For sure.
Like, nothing is dragging me in, and that's kind of disappointing, but I think they might be remedying that with Just Cause 4, because that's nothing but gameplay. Like, there's fucking story, sure, but no, here's a tornado.
Right.
You know, so
here's a
hopefully we'll cross our fingers. Well, let's get into Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War right after a quick right after a quick break. And welcome back to Nerd Radio, National Nerd Net Radio Direct. And you're enjoying, obviously, button mashing. All right. So what have I been playing, Kevin?
I don't know. What have you been playing, Nick? That was my question.
Black Ops, which is why I tried to set it up that way, because that's literally all I've been playing. I legitimately tried to play other stuff so that I could have something else to talk about. Because if you don't know, we alternate button mashing and Zomcast. So it's like, every other week I do need to make sure to figure out what else is going on in the video game world, so possibly I can have something to talk about on this show. But dear God, I can't. I just can't. Like, just for the heck of it, I put on Moonlighter. Really cool, kind of maybe Zelda inspired, because it's top down and, but basically by day, I am a shopkeep. So I'm making sales, I'm finding the right price. There's an actual economy, so if something's in low demand, I can't sell it for as much, and then at night I'm going into the dungeons to farm for stuff to sell in my shopkeep or whatever. Really good. The graphics on it are actually quite beautiful, even though they're like 16-bit or whatever. Like, they really do a lot with it, so I like that. But yeah, I popped that in and I'm like, I'm having fun. Ooh, I unlocked a new dungeon. Zombies. So I went back to zombies, and I'm like, I'm having a lot of fun with that.
Now let me ask you a quick question because I haven't played zombies since we did. Is double XP in zombies as well, or is it just in multiplayer?
Oh yeah, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Everywhere. That's what makes it so awesome. And yeah, I think that is the biggest, once again, if you've been listening to us or watching us for a while now, then you know that the number one thing that we like about Black Ops is because the progression and how it's all over the place. And, the fact that I can just play zombies and level everything up, it's addicting because we've just never had that before. The closest...
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here, buddy. The closest thing we have had is Blops 4 when it had its own progression. So we could start off with a grenade. The grenade went to a sticky bomb, then it went to like a Molotov, which it was called something else, and then the sentry gun. And then the perks, you started off with the normal 4 or whatever, and then you could unlock up to like 20 or something like that. And then the guns themselves, the more you use them, the more attachments you got to them. So that was the closest thing we had. But now we still get the guns, we still get the attachments to the guns. However, it's not separate from the main multiplayer. And so now if I unlock a radical, like totally radical, dude, I get that same radical in multiplayer. And so it incentivized me so much to just have fun. And the fact that now I can exfil, now if I feel like it, if I'm getting bored or like I have to go do something or whatever, okay, let me just make it to 15 and then exfil. Let me make it to 20 and then exfil. It's every 5 after 10. And if I lose, I lose. If I get out of there, I get a bonus XP and the crystal or whatever, which I can use to then upgrade all my shit or whatever. So it's like, it's so freaking addicting. Then Nuketown 1984 came out, and you can play that on Onslaught. So now I can still play zombies, but on Nuketown, like, yeah, it's pretty fun. Like, it's not like Nuketown before when you had zombies there, because it was actually like a completely separate map than what they had. It's just the multiplayer map, but now I have zombies on it. So, but still, it's like, I love it, and
Yeah. I've been wanting to play more Black Ops than I have been, honestly. And kind of going in between either multiplayer or zombies on that. But one thing I'm going to say real quick, because you brought up Black Ops 4. I know Cold War doesn't look the best graphically, especially if we're comparing it to Modern Warfare. Like, a lot of people are like...
Modern Warfare. Oh, okay, yeah, I can see what you mean. I thought you meant, like, it compared to Blops 4. I'm like, bitch, please.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Blops 4, I feel like, technically and, like, quality-wise, was better graphically, because it was a lot more, distinct. I don't know, texture-wise, it was better. But the game, I think this game looks so much better than Black Ops 4. I hate the design, the color palette, everything they did in Black Ops 4. This genuinely does feel like Black Ops 1, but in kind of a modern setting. But I'm still enjoying it. I do think, and that's what I think we're going to continue to preach consistently, is that cross progression, because there have been times where I feel like I've been getting my ass fucking handed to me in multiplayer.
Yep.
And like just the fact, like just us playing zombies for the like 12, 13 rounds that we did, I was like, oh, that was fun. And this game in particular is making me want to go back towards camo hunting again, because
you level up more in zombies. I found
here's the thing: I'm more incentivized to do it in zombies because, like, for example, Nick showed me the trick of using the knife, which, by the way, basically until I think 13 or 14, it still was one hit kill.
Yeah, I think Kevin tried it out at 14. Did you ever try it out at 15?
I never got to 15 with the knife. By that time, we had the Wonder Weapon, then I had my shotgun.
True.
And I tossed my knife for the Wonder Weapon.
Yeah.
But I honestly, I got up to 13 with it. I don't know why I'm looking over there. I've moved some shit around real quick because I was trying to fix something. But yeah, I moved I mean, I was moving.
Yeah.
I was moving. What I would do is I would move in, get one zombie to come out of my herd, and just
Right.
one knife quick whack. And
Yep.
and like you said, Nick, when you're backing up, you do more of a slash rather than a thunk.
Yep.
So it's easier to lead in and then have one follow you back out with the nice little knife slash.
Yep.
And with the camos for like the knife, for example, in zombies, like the zombie camos were way fucking better than the multiplayer ones, in my opinion. And it's like
Mhm.
all these zombie ones are easily doable, like way more doable than multiplayer.
And you can use them in multiplayer.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like I feel more compelled to just
Yep.
grind in zombies for those than than in multiplayer. But it's doing something weird, especially in multiplayer, where
To your no spot.
well, no, like the flip, the switch keeps getting flipped. Like I played Dirty Bomb for the first time today,
Dirty Bob.
and because it's double XP, I looked up right now what's the best game mode for XP to play, and everyone was like Dirty Bomb.
Dirty Bomb.
And dude, fucking started that the first 20 minutes. Me and my team were like, "What the fuck are we doing?" Like we literally, I didn't really know what to do. I was I was definitely confused, and then when I finally got the hang of it, I was up to the point of getting like a 9-kill streak. Like I was
Nice.
like, there was a couple points where I was like, oh, fuck these guys. Like I am, which, by the way, I didn't realize that you could do shotgun for secondary until like last week. So I've been running.
I was
the
using
XM4.
a gunfighter. Lawbreaker. I was using Lawbreaker to put a fucking shotgun as my secondary because
And
I'm
you
a
don't even
derp derp.
You don't even need it. Lawbreaker is the most useless perk, in my opinion, right? Unless you're running a grenade system, it's pointless.
Well, I was doing the 1911, and the 1911 is really fucking good, but that shotgun's a lot better. That shotgun is like,
It is.
oof.
The Diamati, which is one thing that Nick and I use, it's a 3-round burst.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like the Renetti, which was straight on. It's not as accurate as Renetti is for Modern Warfare.
The
but that's
recoil
okay.
is pretty high on these guns. Like,
They're very high. So here's one thing that I found out.
That's because they haven't invented bump stocks yet. Am I right? Am I
You're
right?
an idiot. No, you're an idiot. So I actually, again, you and I were talking about TikTok. You can find all kinds of useful things on TikTok. You just got to scroll, right? And you got to follow the right people. I follow a few different. What are you laughing at?
There's one. Finish your thing, and I'll tell mine.
All right. So there's a guy I watched who literally gives like little helpful tips to like people transitioning and who also play Warfare, and it's about your settings. And I have used his settings, and it changed my game from like being like okay to like really, really good. Within 3-4 hours, I think he had a video up or something like that. It may have been a day or so, but it was already up on how to change your settings to make it feel more like Warzone. And yeah, it totally helps.
Nice.
My question is why is that an option? Why should we have to go in through an options menu to increase or change our settings to make it play better?
Because it's Treyarch, and the other guys are Infinity Ward.
The
Treyarch has always just felt different. We've probably been
it
over
does
this
feel different.
countless times, but it's like Treyarch just always felt different. I always prefer Treyarch's feeling. I did play Warzone for the first time today, and it's so similar, so goddamn similar, but it's just different.
A little bit different.
Yeah.
A little,
It's
like
a
so
little bit different.
little.
The thing that I noticed about Dirty Bomb is
Dirty Bomb?
It felt kind of like it was in the setting of Warzone, but it definitely felt like Blackout. Like especially with the map, like it reminded me of Blackout a lot.
Yep. It's
Um,
Conquest. It's
Yeah.
plunder. It's Conquest plunder. It's plunder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I was laughing at, in which Nick, I think you actually appreciate this. There's a really funny Apex meme community on TikTok.
Yes.
But there was one I saw. They used the audio from the Joker movie, wherever he's like, you think it's funny? He's like, yes, I do, and I'm tired of thinking that line. But the topic was random pinging Mozambique consistently throughout the match, and the guy was like, you think that's funny? It's like, yes, and I'm tired of thinking that it's not. I'm tired of thinking that it's not, or something like that. So that's what we think about it. I was laughing.
I mean,
But, yeah.
number one rule of Apex Legends, you have to
Which-
ping the Mozambique.
Which here's the thing, I'm excited to see what they're going to do for the first season because it's coming in December, I think. Because speaking of Apex, they had their advertisement for their winter event, and I just saw winter event, and I fucking rolled my eyes. I'm like, I don't even need to look at this. I know what this is going to be. This is going to be some bullshit. I have to buy every single one of these fucking skins. I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Man, the day Apex died for me. And then it was just on life alert for like another 6 months after that. Like,
Yeah.
oh man. Anyways, let's not reopen that wound. What was I going to say? Oh, a couple of new things that I have been able to do, because obviously I'm not a zombies aficionado. I'm not a zombies content creator, for instance, because obviously all the content creators did it on day one. But it's like I'm starting to unlock stuff, and there's a couple that I've looked up how to do, and then there's a couple that I'm like just figuring out on my own or whatever. But it's like I've done the Wander weapon, which is fine by itself, but then you can do a freeze and a poison version. Well, you can do 4 different ones: freeze, poison, flame, and it's electric. And so far I've done the freeze and the toxic one. Super easy, actually. You know that canister that we couldn't figure out how to get to, Kevin? Yeah, we suck it. We don't. We kept trying to shoot at it. Yeah, we have to suck it.
Explode off. Yeah.
Yeah, we have to you gotta suck it towards us. Just suck it. Just suck it. And if it's not coming, you just gotta keep sucking. Anyways,
Even after.
but no, the freeze one is so much. Like, first off, you go from 90 ammo all the way up to 150. So that's number one. Number two is, instead of this big, BFG, shot coming from the Wonder Weapon, it's a beam. It's a freeze beam. And so pretty much you could just go like side to side.
Yeah, it's sweeping.
You could just do a sweeping motion.
Sweep the leg.
And you can take out just a horde of zombies so easily. Which, granted, you could do that with the BFG. That's what I'm going to call it, the regular version, the BFG version. You could do that as well. Big friendly giant, actually.
Big friendly. That's what I meant.
But I like the beam because it also then freezes them in place, and then when you freeze them in place, it makes the other zombies have to go around them. So it kind of gives you this little respite. I have found out a good strategy. I don't know if it's going to work with 2 of us or even 3 of us, for instance, but I have found out a pretty good strategy, which is basically do a circle around the plane and then get up onto the very edge of the wing and just let them come towards you. Some of them will come up the center, but then some will come up the sides or whatever. So you basically just wait until you get overwhelmed and then just back up, and it takes them a good second and a half to jump down. So you have that second and a half.
When you and I were training them, that's one of the areas that I would lead them, because it would give me time. It would give me time to have the herd still be together, but still be back a little bit, and I could pick 1, 2, 3 off, and that's how I was.
Then you didn't tell me. I had to find it out from a vidya.
I thought I did know. I thought you did know.
You might. Whoa! Don't no.
Go back.
I like the other angle for better.
I am. Hold on.
You're ugly from this angle.
Hold on.
I like both of us had the same reactions. Wow. There we go. Look, you're gorgeous again.
I opened up my laptop because I was actually going to open up the game and take a look at the menu.
Oh yeah. So I did that. I figured out how to do that, and then I did something else. I don't know. So far, the highest I've been able to exfil is at 15, which, you know, some of you high rounders. Oh, I finally got my first ray gun. I swear to God, I've been trying for the ray gun for a while because, you know, the whole dancing zombie thing.
Yeah.
One video said that you're almost guaranteed my fucking ass. I've done that dance at least 15 to 20 times. And not a single fucking time. I've even waited until round 10 so that I have a higher chance at higher rarity stuff. And still, no god. I've gotten the wonder weapon from it, and I still haven't gotten a goddamn ray. Yes!
I didn't know you could get the wonder weapon from it.
Exactly. I didn't either. And so finally, the mystery box or whatever, I was basically just doing it because I had so many points. I just was like, you know, I had so many points to deal with. I was just like, all right, let me do it. And then all of a sudden I saw it was glowing orange. I'm like, oh, I got closer. It was the ray gun. I'm like, fuck yeah. Dude, the ray gun is legit. Is it
OP?
It is legit. I wouldn't say it's OP. I'd say it's just right, considering that it's one of the rarest guns that you have to get. You know what I mean?
Compare it to the wonder weapon. Like the wonder weapon, it's just like, yeah.
When you have the wonder weapon and the ray gun, you're fucking unstoppable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I got exfil, no fucking problem. Because it was like, I do the fucking freeze ray, and then...
Is it common knowledge that you can use that insta-kill is effective on, like, the dudes that split up?
Yeah, you do bonus damage. You don't insta-kill them, obviously, but you do bonus damage.
You do?
You little doo-doo.
Little duties.
Little dudes.
Okay, I wasn't sure,
Duties.
honestly.
Yeah.
Call of Dudes.
All right. So, one more break, and then we're going to get into our last segment of the day of button mashing. We'll get back right after this.
Because I always got the nice words, surrounded by kinda cool flows like an iceberg. See, I stay chill, but I'm never throwing shade. Just looking to shine, cooking the blinds for your whole brigade.
All right, guys, thank you so much for sticking in there, hanging out with us, talking about some video games. Good games, bad games sometimes.
Yeah.
Speaking of bad, so Avengers, Marvel Avengers, came out with a great thud. You know, I'll be one of the first to say that, like, I liked it, especially like the story mode, for instance. Story mode is fucking awesome. Like the story mode is what the game should have been, and then they could have made like a cooler. Like, okay, they were trying to be Destiny. Let's just say that. But the thing is that, like, Destiny has these big, expansive areas that encourage you to not only, like, revisit it, but also explore, and then you can do patrols on it and things like that. And there are certain areas that are quote-unquote big, but not big, like, for Thor or Iron Man to fly around in. So that's something I'm willing to admit, but... you just talk about like the feeling of each Avenger and the combat and things like that. If you just talk about that, 10 out of 10. I feel like each character felt unique. Each character felt like I was that character. Like throwing Thor's axe, even though it doesn't quite feel as good as like the Leviathan axe from like God of War, for instance, it still felt pretty satisfying, and being able to switch from that to a character like Hulk or whatever, and he plays completely different. And then there's Black Widow, which she's pretty much almost like, like a third-person shooter type of character. So the fact that each character felt like their, comic book counterpart, and they felt so different, is a feat that I feel like was something, that's good about them. And one thing I'd really like to know is like the PlayStation numbers, because a lot of the reports coming out are talking about like Steam numbers. Now, I'm not saying that like everyone's playing on the PlayStation, for instance, but we are getting Spider-Man on the PlayStation. So does that mean people decided to play on the PlayStation and the numbers are slightly better, maybe slightly worse, just the same as on Steam? Because that's definitely one side of the pie, I guess, that we haven't been able to really figure out. A lot of people are basically going off of Steam and Twitch, because Twitch isn't that great either. So, but yeah, it's pretty much getting dead in the water, you know. And I think me and you, Kevin, because you haven't played it yet, other than the beta, right, Nate? Okay, so me and you, Kevin, in particular, can at least speak to its potential. Was it awesome? Was it the best? Was it game of the year? Fuck no. But the potential and everything was really good. So you hearing that the game is going to possibly die and we're not going to be able to get that, 2.0 version of it where it's like suddenly better or whatever, what's that make you think about it?
I think he's talking to you, Kevin.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know. I mean, the game, like I said, it had a lot of potential and it was a lot of fun to kind of play through, but I never really kind of expected all that much from it like everybody else was.
Yeah.
For me, it was more of just like, hey, play this game. I more so got stuck behind the repetitiousness and the fact that, I mean, you give me all these really cool features like having customized gear, this, that, and the other, but you let me down in the fact that I don't get to see that gear. And then I have to pay for this or I have to earn this. Whereas in the beta, I got points and I already earned points and it seemed like it was going to be a much easier system to earn. And it wasn't the case at all. So for me, the game kind of fell flat and dead. I don't feel that it was worth the price. And I don't know.
Well, what's interesting for me is going into Avengers, it was always going to be a next-gen game for me because I knew it was going to run better, it was going to look better.
Yeah, true.
And with a game like this, who's basically, it's at its birth, well, like we saw with Destiny, it kind of helps to wait until, more content comes out.
I would agree that is going to be a factor when it comes to this game. But I mean, already knowing the fact that they're going to shadow character new released characters is kind of, in a way, off-putting because I want something newer and fresher. I don't want to be playing the same character but with a different skin. I mean, there's so many other games.
The skin thing is definitely the biggest because they want to incentivize you to purchase skins.
Right.
But that's like, I think that's something that they might fix and patch because enough people complain about it. But
yeah,
I think that this game has the potential to, once it's in year 1 or year 2, it's really going to be something special. But right now, I mean, we're definitely in the danger zone just because the fact that we're getting reports that it, like you were saying, it didn't recoup costs. Like the game has yet to recoup its cost to develop the game. Is like, that's bad. That's really bad.
That's not good. It's really bad PR. It's really bad for any hope for us that we're going to get decent content because now it's going to be underfunded content.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing that sucks about it the most is that you have a game like Destiny, and I'm not saying Destiny was a bad game by any means, but you have a game like Destiny that sold so fucking much and it didn't get good until a year later with The Taken King. Then you had Destiny 2, and they somehow made the same fucking mistake, and people still ate it the fuck up. Yep. And once again, it didn't get good again, at least from what I heard from the communities. It didn't get good again until a year later. And it's just like, so you would think that they would learn their lesson when they want to make a similar thing. And the unfortunate thing is, and like a lot of people don't really talk about this enough, I think, is that, people are like, oh, it's just a live service or whatever. They're just trying to go off the coattails of this or whatever. It's like, I think, especially from the story, especially from the people or from the characters and the combat system, there was passion behind this project. The comic books that you can pick up, the collectibles that you can pick up. There was passion behind this project.
But you can't read the comic books. You can't see the inside of the comic. All it is just a static image that you can look at from the base. And that to me kind of loses it. Like, I wanted to go more in depth. I wanted to be able to read the comic, or at least not only see the comic book cover, but maybe give me a whole list I can scroll down through that would let me read what was in the comic, or a detailed synopsis of what that comic book specifically was about. They didn't offer that.
Yeah.
Well, and as a fan of Marvel, that kind of lost me.
Yeah. And I mean, they had so much going for them, but then the corporate side got a hold of it, basically, you know? Because I feel like if we would have had the story and then they would have waited to have the more multiplayer stuff later, like GTA is a really good example of that. If we would have had something like that, I really feel like this could have been contender for, you know, maybe not game of the year, but like top 10 of the year for sure.
Yeah.
Instead, now because of the unfortunate situation that it's in, it might even be bottom 10, you know?
Right. And
I can
that's
see that.
that's the thing. The thing that was really keeping me to play Avengers was the story. Because like the story caught my interest, and I like the fact how they, you know, based on from what I've seen, Camilla Khan is your avatar, and it's someone who is a legit Marvel fan, and you're basically seeing through. And I think that's a really cool concept. But yeah, it's kind of muddied by all the other bullshit that most people don't really want to deal with.
Yeah.
And it's I think that here's the thing. I think if we're going to see a resurgence of a game, like, you know, one that's kind of broken, I think it's definitely going to be Avengers over Anthem. Just because I feel like Avengers has less things to break, but like, I know like the Kind of Funny guys had said, you know, pretty much at launch this game was not ready for launch. Like the fact that on their first update, their first patch, so their patch notes were gigantic with stuff that was needing to be fixed. It's
There's
like
1,000 fixes.
Yeah, it's like push till next gen.
Yeah.
Push this game till next gen.
And I mean, it's so weird too because it was far enough detached from Endgame that, they should have just waited. And unfortunately, that's once again going back to the corporate side of everything. The corporate side of everything is pretty much just like, that's what screwed them over. I genuinely don't think that this would have been that bad of a deal if they weren't going for that. Because even Destiny is a good example. You know, the reason they weren't good until a year later is because they quite clearly were not ready. And they were good a year later because they had time to work on it. They had time for feedback. If we would have had that same thing, even if this would have been like put out as like early access or something, I don't know how that would have gone down, but still, like, something needs to change. We can't just keep having games come out and then they're good a year later. Another really good example, Kevin, Fallout 76. All of a sudden they put out like Wanderers, and now all of a sudden I feel like they're putting out a shit ton of content, and it's because they took the fucking time to make it better. And I just wish more companies would do that.
Can I parline this? So we talked about something early on in this episode about where games give you too much shit on the board, right? You get in and it's too much muddied waters. Fallout 76 is the worst contender when it came to that, because you literally you're like level 5 and you're like just now starting the story, but your whole right side of your screen is nothing but effing missions. And I mean, it's a shit ton. They muddied the water. It got overwhelming. I didn't know what to do, when to do it, why to do it.
Right.
And
what do I focus on? What do I do on the way? Yeah, totally.
Yes. But again, like you just said, that's a game that it took a year to bake. And then now that it came back out of the oven, it's like, oh, it's ready. Yeah. And it is. There's a lot of content. They're always doing releases. They now have a seasonal thing that's like a scoreboard. The game in itself is fun. And they just now released, that's a good topic, actually. They just now released the Brotherhood of Steel update.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Brotherhood of Steel came out. And the only reason why it dropped was because when Xbox users, I think it's next new gen, when they downloaded 76, it came rolled out with the Brotherhood of Steel update. So instead of like Bethesda being like, yeah, sorry, the rest of you console users, you're just going to have to deal with it. Xbox got it first. No, Bethesda's like, not going to happen that way. They released it for everybody. They shut every server down for 6 solid hours to roll out this update so everybody could have it. Kudos to Bethesda for holding it true to all gamers and not being exclusive to just Xbox, because they were just bought out by Microsoft. So
yeah, right.
That's kind of a good little feeling, nice little perk me up. But you're absolutely right. Some games require a good baking time. They do. They absolutely do.
And hopefully in the future, sometime corporates can start to realize that they could make more money if
Yeah.
they just put out a good game. I mean, there's so many examples of just good games that make money, you know? So,
Yep.
but that's good games and bad games. But let's take about what the fuck games. Am I right? With WTF this game is. All right, so WTF this game is we find just some weird ass trailers and we do that. So let's start from the beginning. Let's go to Speaking Simulator.
Okay.
Everybody ready?
Oh yeah.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
Humanity built me to help, to care. And I'm absolutely fed up with it. So I've been trying really hard to destroy
Click.
them. But all
Click,
of my
click, click,
strategies
click,
I'm
click,
definitely
click,
not
click,
a
click,
robot.
is you. My robot
What
is
testicles
gone.
does he have
What
next
the
to him?
fuck?
Oh,
What the fuck?
With a human mouth.
blah.
Use it for seduction.
Seduction.
Use it for to sue.
Find you quite attractive.
Beware. I cut a lot of corners with your safety features.
Oh god.
Karen from HR.
What the fuck?
Infiltrate their society. And take over the world.
Whoa.
Oh. Okay.
Play no limits. Yeah. Okay. Maybe there should be some limits.
There needs to be some
There
limits,
needs to
man.
be some.
There needs to be some damn limits. What
Okay.
the ever living shit
Now,
was
when
that?
you have a game like Surgeon Simulator, I understand the thought process behind, hey, we should make a game about Surgeon Simulator. I understand the process, but who the fuck, what acid trip did somebody go on to come up with just the concept of this game, or rather than the actual creation of this game?
Yeah, I can't. I don't know what I just watched.
Okay, here.
I don't know how to use my tongue for seduction. Apparently, not how the way they do it. In the trailer, yeah. That's rough.
Oh god.
The thing I see this game benefiting is future logistics on how to make robots seem more lifelike.
Oh man, that's
That's it.
That's weird.
Yeah,
All right, so that's a
fucked up.
perfect one for WTF this game is. Usually what we also try to do is we try to figure out how much it costs to see is would it even be worth Speaking Simulator. So it is currently, let me see. That's not there. $14.99 on Steam.
I might pay that.
Really?
I
That's
don't know.
a
Something
titty
about
bit-
the game.
That's a titty bit too much. $9.99, I think,
It's
sign me up.
$15. It's $15. That's a couple burgers or something. But it's one of those games
that you know
that's-
how to eat because you're a human.
I don't know. The game interested me in a weirdly satisfying way. I was slightly interested, completely disturbed
Right.
by all means.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get on to the next one. The next one's called Muscle March.
We're gonna call
This
this,
is an
retro.
oldie.
Yeah, we're gonna call this
Oldie one.
retro WTF. This game is. This is
All right.
retro.
Starting from the back. Everybody ready?
Oh,
1, 2, 3. WiiWare.
Oh my god, I forgot about WiiWare.
oh
Oh,
yeah.
this is off to a great start.
Hey,
Yep.
which way to the restroom? Is it over there?
I'm pretty sure it's-
Or maybe this way. Oh, dear God.
Yes.
What the freak? Oh, dear. What is going on?
I feel like I remember this actually.
Oh, no.
What's that, like, Takashi's Castle or whatever, where it's just, like, weird bullshit going on all the time? Oh my! You have to go through the. Oh my god! You have to go through the wall.
Why is he just Speedo now?
What the fuck?
Why is it such a long trailer?
This seems like 80 seconds too long.
It's still got 30 seconds.
Oh my god! Oh, it's still going. Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Just wow.
What this
I don't
retro
know
game is.
Honestly.
So, okay, the concept is the guys in the football suit, they steal your protein powder. So you're actually chasing them to get
Oh
your
my
protein
God.
powder back. So that's the concept.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
What was
why
that
not?
name?
Why the fuck not?
That makes it sound so much better, is what I was saying. Yeah.
Well,
They
I
still
hope
have
so.
protein powder
Ow.
and then
I don't feel like that does anything for me. Knowing the reason for the insanity doesn't suddenly make the insanity.
I'd pay $15 for that game. I'm just kidding.
Is that how much it is? I guess it
I have
doesn't
no
matter
idea.
because it's
Doesn't matter,
freaking
that's
WiiWare.
retro. Yeah, it's WiiWare.
You can't even get stuff off of WiiWare now, so it's oh my god. So that's two really good WTF this game is. I mean, if you're audio listeners, it might have been like really confusing for you. So go ahead and go to our YouTube version of this, which will always go on the Wednesday after the broadcast. So if you're watching live,
Don't.
or if you're listening, I guess if you're listening to it on a podcast, then it's already out because it went out the same day as the podcast. So just go look at the video version because these games are definitely worth just slack jawing like, huh? So, yeah.
Why is it real?
Why is it? I don't know, man. So yeah. Next week, look forward to a little bit of Zomcast in the place of button matching. We're going to be doing Dawn of the Dead versus Dawn of the Dead. Again. We're going to be doing the 1978 version versus the 2004 version, the Zack Snyder version. So same time this week, look out for Zomcast. Or if you're listening to this, once again, same time this week. So I was Nick.
I was Nate.
And I'm that boy Kevin.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us with the buttons and mashing them. So keep doing that. Keep mushing those muttons.
Oh, yeah.
All right. That's it. We're done. Go ahead.
You can.
Just go. You can leave now.
See ya.
Go.